what is up, Internet? This is Kyle with Slapshot Toys and Comics, doing my first ever action figure review. You know what? I spend a lot of time online whenever I want to make a purchase for a new collectible to add to my collection, watching different reviews on action figures, statues, all those type of things. So I figured, you know what? I have a passion for it. Maybe I can help someone else make a decision on a piece that they would like to add to their collection. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. So here it is, and this is my first ever review. And I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I collect almost all the figures I can of him. So I figured, why not start with the Square Enix variant Play Art Spider-Man. I figure this is a fantastic place to start. So here, this is our standard packaging for the Play Arts. As you can see, Spidey looking really cool doing his thing. So let's go ahead and get this guy open and take a look. So here's the Play Arts variant Spider-Man out of the box. Just having a little crouching web shooting pose. Nothing too terribly dynamic, but still feel like kind of a pretty cool little pose. First impressions, I absolutely love this figure. I think the sculpting is phenomenal. The paint apps is really good. There's just a lot I really like about the Spider-Man. Alright, the first thing we're going to take a look at are the accessories that come with the Play Arts variants Spider-Man. As typical, the Play Arts line comes with a lot of cool accessories. The first one that all their figures come with is this little stand. It's actually a really nice stand to have. It comes in parts that you have to put together. It's real simple to put together. It comes with a little tool to tighten up the bolts and all that. And then there's a small little clamp, like the one I have on it right now, but it also comes with a larger clamp that can obviously display your figures quite nicely. I really like this stand. I actually use it, if I'm not using it for the Play Arts, I use it for my other Marvel Selects, especially the different Spider-Man I have to do different web swing poses and things like that. But it's an awesome stand to have. And then it comes with this like little piece of webbing, which is actually really cool. The coloring is in the mold and the sculpting is phenomenal. You get this like kind of like dark gray and then into like this bluish gray and then this really bright silver. It's fantastic. I just don't know what it's for. What I have been doing is if I have Spidey in like a jumping or swinging pose, I just put it down on the base like that so it kind of looks like a base. I really wish they would have given us some sort of like peg for a foothold, something that we could display Spidey on this, because I really don't know what it's for, but it looks really cool, and it looks pretty good when I just set it on the display like that. So that's what I've been doing with it. Don't know if that's what it's for or not, but that's how I'm using it. First off, we get quite a few different lengths of webbing that are connectable. And these are really cool, clear, like the clear plastic, and then we have some like bluish silver paint going on, like the spaghetti webs that McFarlane made real popular. Really like these a lot. I usually go back and forth between a web swinging pose and then kind of a fighting pose with the Venom Play Arts figure I have. So there's a couple different lengths. There's just like a little shorter one. They are not bendy though, so they won't stay. That's the only thing I would have kind of liked to see, actually have them have a bendy wire. But there's this one that's kind of has the little hook on the end. We have a really nice long one, and then another short one. And then, like I was saying, they do connect like that, so you can make them a little bit longer if you need it. All right, and they just unpop like that. And then we get this web cone kind of looking thing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's sculpted fantastic. It has some really cool paint. I just don't know what I'd use it for. I mean, I guess you could kind of put it, if you had like a cabinet or something, put it up against the bottom of like a cabinet, and then connect, because these do connect as well. And then you can make it look like he's like hanging off, and that's the connecting part. That would look kind of cool, but just for my display purposes, I don't use it a whole lot. But kind of cool to have nonetheless. And then you get two little spider web bullets, which are just really cool as far as the clear plastic, the silver, and then clear, and then going into like the blue. Looks really cool. And then those can also connect to the webbing lines. So they just pop in. Apparently it's not as easy as what I thought it was. But they do pop into those little ports. And then they also can go into the first pair of hands that I'm going to show you, which have these like little web shooters. I am not a huge fan of these hands at all, only because of how much the web sprays. I just think it looks a little bit awkward if I'm trying to get him in like a web shooting pose. I mean, that just looks weird to me. It's like, okay, so it's like spraying out all that much web, and then all of a sudden it just goes into this. I'm not a huge fan of this design. I don't know why exactly they went with it. But you know what? I have their other hands that I can use. All right, so it comes with 2 of those, and then it comes with the normal little spider flip hands that do not have, obviously, the spray. And these are the ones I use the most, and you can see a little bit of paint chipping right there, which I'm not crazy about. But it's a figure. What are you going to do? Not all of them are going to be perfect. But one thing I really love is the sculpting on this is awesome. I mean, all these lines are detailed in, and then you have the actual, what looks like, actual gloves, and then the little web shooter right there. I mean, these are some really, really cool looking hands. I think they suit Spider-Man really well. But so you get 2 of those. And then you get 2 of the just kind of relaxed hands. I actually have the other one on the figure right now, how I have him posed. Same thing. I mean, the detailing, almost like a work glove, just looks awesome. You get 2 solid fisted hands. Again, I have the other one on the figure currently. And then you get the 2 web holding hands, and then the web just slides. It takes a little bit of work, and actually one of them I started to chip a little paint off, so I don't do it a whole lot, but you can just slide the webbing into those hands, and then he holds them pretty nice and tight. So those are all the hands and accessories that we get with this figure. I mean, it's play art, so you know you're going to get a lot of good accessories, and a lot of different ways you can pose them in this. Alright, so now we're going to take a little look at the figure itself. I gotta say, honestly, this is just a flat-out awesome design. Now, this is a variant figure, so all the play arts, they're not really modeled after anything that's in the comics or movies or anything like that. These are artists' own interpretations of each of the Marvel heroes and things like that. I really, really like this design of Spider-Man. I think that this just came out stunningly. I mean, you just take a look at the detail here on the chest. This head sculpt, I think, is just absolutely stunning. You get the silver paint that fades into the black there in the eyes. All these lines, spider webs, are sculpted in the head there. I mean, that just looks sick in my opinion. Going down further, I mean, you take a look at this chest plate, which actually is kind of a cool rubbery material. So as you can kind of see, as you bend it, it kind of moves with the figure. So that kind of gives it the posability a little bit more in the way of this doesn't like stick out or anything, any weird like gaps or anything like that. There is kind of a weird one here in the back, but I never really show off the back of this figure all that much. So, I mean, that is something to think about when you're looking at this figure. But I mean, like even just like this detail here, just a carbon fiber into like the muscle right there. I mean, this figure is just really, really designed really well. Same goes on to the sides here. I mean, you have all these sculpted lines for the spider webbing. The blues, the paint apps just look fantastic. And then the legs are really what I really like. You have this like the carbon fiber into the suit here. But then you also have this webbing that is designed in, which I really like. The only not really complaint that I have, but kind of looks odd, just standing normally, is these shin pad or these knee pads. I don't know why, but just this kind of like ribbing texture here, it just kind of looks off compared to the rest of the figure. Then we go down here to the boots and little shin guards. Once again, all that is sculpted in, which just looks fantastic. And then same with the boots, got some tread down there. It is just a fantastic looking figure. I really, really like it. So as far as articulation, I really like this figure. The posability is actually pretty good. So the head, there's a little bit of a tilt on both sides. Can rotate back and forth, and then he looks up a little bit again, Spider-Man, I really feel like should be able to look really, really high, just because you can get him in some crouching poses. So I mean, this one's not terrible, but it's not as high as I would like it to be. He can look down quite a bit, but then you get a weird gap right there. So that's it for the head. Like I was showing earlier, a diaphragm right here can move side to side. There is not a very good ab crunch, and you can go back. Just be careful, like I said before, with the gap there in the back, that this little plastic or rubbery piece doesn't get caught in there. There is a little bit of a hip swivel, but not really anything to really get some good poses out of that. Most of it's up here. Arms does have a bicep swivel, does have an elbow joint right there. Wrists are articulated, and obviously they can rotate. Down on the legs, he really can't do the splits. That's about as far as he can go. So if you're looking there, I mean, that's really not that far. But the one thing he can do is he can kick up quite a bit, and then that can rotate out. So, I mean, he does, so you can get some decent poses as far as the legs by going up and then out. And then they are hinged, so there's that clicking noise. Double jointed knees, which work fantastic, if you can see there. And then the articulation in the foot goes forward and back. You do have your toe, and it does rotate. There is no real ankle pivot on this figure, which is kind of disappointing for a Spider-Man figure. So, like I said at the beginning, I really, really like this figure. Keep in mind that it is a variant. It's not modeled after any movie or comic Spider-Man, but as someone who just collects Spider-Man figures in general, this is a fantastic piece, and I'm so happy I added it to my collection. And it works perfect with my Venom. I usually display those two kind of in the midst of a battle. So this is a fantastic piece. I hope you guys enjoyed my first ever review. Let me know in the comments what you thought. If you like this figure, if you don't like this figure, if you have it, those type of things. And hopefully I'll be able to start getting some content up and some reviews up as quickly as I can. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this and you check out some future reviews. Thanks, guys. See ya.